Neb Chandler, voted Ohio's Sportscaster of the Year for the second year in a row. When you want sports news, get it from the best. Neb Chandler on Eyewitness News.
Suddenly, the word's getting around.
Hi, Don. Hi there. Welcome back. Thank you.
The heat is rising at the Baghdad Cafe, a free TV premiere late night Sunday.
Tonight, these three teams compete on Academic Challenge. Brought to you by the Illuminating Company. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Lou Maglio.
Good luck. Good luck to you. Good luck to you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Academic Challenge, where tonight teams from Mineral Ridge High School, Thomas W. Harvey High School of Paynesville, and John Marshall High School of Cleveland are competing in our 27th year. In our first electronic challenge round, each team starts with 100 points and has 6 questions. Correct answers are worth 10 points, and there are no penalties in this round. Now let's meet the players of team number 1, Mineral Ridge. Senior Jason Garris enjoys chess, reading, and computers. He's a member of the band, National Honor Society, and the newspaper staff, and he plans to be a minister. Jeff Patterson, a senior, enjoys music and reading, and he's a member of the newspaper staff, band, and National Honor Society. He plans to major in materials engineering at Case Western Reserve University. Senior Mark Wilson is a member of the band, the National Honor Society, newspaper staff, and scholarship team. He wants to major in medieval and Renaissance studies. Jason Garris is the captain. Jason, the lights are spinning around, so please push down your yellow button, and we'll find out which category you get for the opening round tonight. And you have landed on literature. Edgar Rice Burroughs' best-known books concerned what British nobleman who was deserted in the African jungle in infancy and raised by apes?
Tarzan.
Yes. Had Shakespeare written Hamlet in the language of the country where it's set, what Scandinavian tongue would be spoken by everyone at Elsinore?
Danish.
Danish is correct. Joseph Conrad wrote about Lord Jim, but what William Golding novel is named for the lord of an insect order called Diptera?
Flies.
Yes, Lord of the Flies. In the main, horses were the sole friends of what fictional traveler who became disgusted with human society after travels to the land of the Lilliputians?
Gulliver.
Right. Dumbo was a flying elephant and Mary Poppins a flying governess, but what perpetually young boy led the flying in a fantasy by Sir James Barrie?
Peter Pan.
Peter Pan is correct, Jeff, yes. Beauty is only skin deep might be the favorite proverb of what long-nosed Frenchman who served as the inspiration and hero of a play by Edmond Rostand?
Cyrano de Bergerac.
That is correct, Jason, and Mineral Ridge, you have 160 points. Now, Harvey High School, Brian Massey is a junior and a member of the golf team. His interests include juggling and water skiing. Junior Robert McPeak is a member of the newspaper staff as well as the drama club. In his spare time, he enjoys photography and sailing. Michael Cowling is a junior and a member of the jazz ensemble, drama club, and newspaper staff. He also finds the time to be on both the basketball and baseball teams. Brian Massey is the captain. Brian, you know what to do. Push down that yellow button and stop the lights for us. And you have landed on the category time and place. In France in 1740, a cow was sentenced to be hanged for what same alleged activity that decades earlier had led to the executions of 20 people in Salem, Massachusetts.
Witchcraft?
Yes, Robert. Thomas Jefferson died on a 4th of July, as did what other Virginia-born president, a man whose name is given to a foreign policy doctrine?
Monroe.
Yes. The Wright brothers proved that aviation wasn't just for the birds when, in 1903, they flew over Kill David Hill near what North Carolina town whose name suggests a bird?
Kitty Hawk.
Right. In June of 1990, the average gasoline price in the United States was $1.10 per gallon, which was just 1/3 the cost of a gallon of gas in what capital city of Norway?
Oslo.
Right. In 1808, Ethan Hitchcock became the first fully empowered U.S. ambassador to what foreign empire, then ruled by the Romanov dynasty? Pass or play?
Russia.
Russia is correct, yes. In 1913, the Smithsonian Institution awarded a medal to what French engineer who had used a lot of metal in building a Paris tower that bears his name?
Eiffel.
Eiffel is right. Harvey, you have 160 points as well. Now, John Marshall. James Gumbus is a senior and a member of the National Honor Society, Marching Band, and Student Council. In his spare time, he enjoys sports and computers. Senior Iyad Hassan plans to attend Case Western Reserve University. He's a senior class treasurer and a member of the National Honor Society. David Hinton is a senior and plans to major in chemical engineering at college. He's a member of the French Honorary and Tutoring Corps. James Gumbus is the captain. James, the lights are in motion. Push down your yellow button. And you have landed on the category of trivia. 6 questions for you in this round. When George Washington rented out land in the Shenandoah Valley, he required his tenants to plant what sort of trees? The same sort later planted by the eccentric John Chapman.
Apples.
Apples is right. Although its name means dwarf lion, what creature noted for its ability to change color is actually a small lizard?
Chameleon.
Right. Hamilton's face on the $10 bill is a copy of an oil portrait, but that of Lincoln on the $5 bill is taken from a photograph by what famous Civil War photographer? Any attempts? The answer is Matthew Brady. Even though Mount Kenya in Africa is in the torrid zone, it boasts a number of what slow-moving formations that descend from it as glassy rivers of ice?
Glaciers.
Right. A Latin word meaning away gives us what word for the type of excuse a suspect might offer to prove he was someplace else when a crime was committed?
Alibi.
Alibi is correct, David. In medieval Europe, it was thought that if a baby's baptism were interrupted, he would later have what dangerous habit that a doctor might call somnambulism? Pass or play?
Can't sleep.
Sleepwalking. Sleepwalking was a specific answer we were looking for there. So, John Marshall, you finished this round with 140 points. We'll be back with the lightning round. The lightning round is coming your way next in just a few moments. But first, teams, remember that at the end of every match, we'll check the ladder on our Super Bowl scoreboard. At the end of the season, the 3 teams with the highest scores are back for an Academic Challenge Super Bowl. So far, the highest point totals have been South Range, Medina, and Perry of Massillon. We'll be back right after this from the Illuminating Company.
Space mission, only it never gets canceled. It's not just our job, it's your electricity. Climb this corporate ladder, you'd better conquer more than your fear of heights. It's not just our job, it's your electricity.
Before we continue with tonight's match, let's have a closer look at the schools that are competing tonight. Mineral Ridge High School serves 312 students, and most of them participate in one or more of the many extracurricular activities offered there. Art teacher Pamela Placia serves as the Academic Challenge Advisor for Mineral Ridge, which annually hosts the very professional Escapades comedy variety show. Mineral Ridge is particularly proud of its fine science and art departments. Thomas W. Harvey High School, located in the city of Paynesville, is home to 600 students in grades 9 through 12. Sherman King, a counselor, is now in his 22nd season as Academic Challenge Advisor. Marketing classes offered at the school teach students business and marketing skills through the use of computers. In addition, Thomas W. Harvey students have the opportunity to join a special peer listening group where students help other students. Cleveland's John Marshall High School has an enrollment of 1,500 students, and this year's football, tennis, and golf teams all were city champions. Academic Challenge Advisor is Robert Vineyard, who's in charge of the Behavior Modification Alternative Center, a state-funded program that works with problem students. In addition, he serves as athletic director at the school. The computer lab at John Marshall was recently updated with new equipment through a generous $100,000 donation from National City Bank. And now it's time for the lightning round. Teams, in this round, you will all compete in a visual free-for-all. The first team to ring its bell for each item will be recognized. The right answer is worth 10 points, but we'll take away 10 points for a wrong answer or if you fail to reply. All right, teams, here we go with tonight's lightning round. This lightning round shouldn't cause you to see red because each item relates to the color white. Identify the following. White animal, Alice follows into Wonderland. John Marshall.
Rabbit.
Right. This white object is the universal symbol of John Marshall.
White flag.
Yes. This Mark Twain character was supposed Mineral Ridge.
Tom Sawyer.
Right. Another name for leukocytes. Thomas W. Harvey.
White blood cells.
Correct. Chalky topographical feature of Dover, England. Thomas W. Harvey.
Cliffs.
Yes. Great White Way is nicknamed for this Manhattan, Mineral Ridge.
Broadway.
Yes. The White Plague is a book by this author of Dune, Mineral Ridge.
Frank Herbert.
Correct. Song White Christmas is by this composer, Mineral Ridge.
Irving Berlin.
Correct. Whitey Herzog was manager of this St. Louis team, Mineral Ridge.
Cardinals.
Correct. 1776 Battle of White Plains took place in this state. Marshall.
New York.
Yes. Red and white flowers named this 15th century Mineral Ridge. Correct. White Sands Missile Testing Range is in this state. Marshall.
Utah.
No, New Mexico. New Mexico, the correct answer, and that concludes the lightning round. Now remember that at the end of the season, the three teams with the highest scores are back to compete in the Academic Challenge Super Bowl and will each receive the new Apple Macintosh Classic computer for their school. The computers are provided by Apple Computer Incorporated and Holcomb's Educational Materials Stores, Apple's largest educational sales consultant in Ohio. See Holcomb's for special educator purchase prices. There are more Apples in schools today than any other computer. In addition to their Apple computer, the winner of our Super Bowl program will also receive a very special championship trophy. We're back after this from the Illuminating Company.
And you hear all the raving cheers and yay, lights are on. It just brings something to you, makes you feel like you did something satisfying for them.
Monday's our busiest day of the week. We take anywhere from 3,000 to 4,500 calls in our office. It's hectic, it's challenging, it's fun.
Because one of the things that our company has worked on is reliable service. We are a service company.
So when we're out there trying to restore service during a storm condition, we know exactly how those folks feel.
I have industrial accounts. I am the link between the customer and the answer to their problem. I have an engineering degree, and I'm capable of answering their questions.
People who own, operate, develop, build buildings over the long run, he's going to be glad that he used our product because we're going to be here. We expect him to be here.
As the customer told me yesterday, I know you get things done.
We're working to keep you working.
Before we go to our second electronic challenge round, let's recap the scores. In third place right now with 160 points, John Marshall. In second place with 180 points, Harvey. Our leader so far with 220 points, Mineral Ridge. Now in this round, each question is worth 20 points, but now you may lose 20 points for incorrect answers or lose 10 points if you fail to reply. Any team that answers all 8 questions correctly will gain 25 bonus points. Team number 1, your turn again, Mineral Ridge. Jason Garris, the captain, push down your yellow button, and you land on the category all the same. 617 is the area code for both Minneapolis and what Twin City that is also the state capital? Pass or play?
Pass.
That was St. Paul, St. Paul. It's a metal, it's a good conductor of electricity, its atomic number is 29. I'm talking about what element whose chemical symbol is Cu?
Copper.
Yes. Paul French is a pen name used occasionally by what prolific modern author whose science fiction works include I, Robot and Foundation's End?
Isaac Asimov.
Right. If you said your friends had caprine appetite, That would mean they shared the indiscriminate eating habits of what animal seen on the zodiac as Capricorn? Pass or play? That was a goat. Such literary works as Catch-22, The Naked and the Dead, and Tales of the South Pacific were all set during what same 20th century war that lasted from 1939 till 1945.
World War II.
Correct. The sclera, the vitreous humor, and the cornea are all parts of what sensory organ of the body?
Yeah.
Yes? And As You Like It by Shakespeare, the character Sir Oliver Martext has what same religious title as the clergyman of Wakefield in a book titled by Oliver Goldsmith?
Pass.
The answer there was Vicar of Wakefield. And finally, of Henry VIII's 6 wives, 2 had what same name that today belongs to Queen Elizabeth's 1 daughter?
Pass.
The answer there was Anne. And Mineral Ridge, you now have 260 points. And we move along now to Harvey. Brian Massey is the captain. Brian, you've got 180 points right now. Push down your yellow button. And you have landed on letter perfect. Now, in this letter perfect packet, all answers will begin with the letter T. All the answers here begin with the letter T. In the standard series of DPT shots given today's infants, the D stands for diphtheria, the P for pertussis, and the T for what other disease, sometimes called lockjaw?
Tetanus.
Right. Jack London set some stories in the cold Yukon, but he set the heathen in what same South Sea island where Gauguin sent his paintings?
Tahiti.
Right. The writer J.R. Ackerley wrote a lot about his pet dog, an animal with what name that also identifies a bulb flower cultivated in Holland?
Tulip.
Yes. Modern science has devised machines to smash the atom, but as yet no one has perfected what machine mentioned in the title of an H.G. Wells novel about traveling in history?
Time machine.
Correct. A bridge player asking for a new deal echoes Franklin D. Roosevelt, but he asked for a fair deal. He echoes what later president?
Truman.
Right. Despite differences in size, the baobab and basswood would both be classified by what title of a poem by Joyce Kilmer? Pass or play?
We're going to have to pass.
All right, the answer there is trees. A Hungry Heart was the subject of a Bruce Springsteen song, but what other sort of heart gives you the title of an Edgar Allan Poe short story in which a murderer is found out? Right. The largest of the moons circling the planet Neptune has what name, suggesting a conch shell used as a horn by attendants of the sea god Neptune?
Titan.
Triton. Triton specifically the answer. We cannot accept that. Harvey, you have 270 points. Now we move along to John Marshall High School of Cleveland. James Gumbus, the captain. James, push down your yellow button for us, and you land on You Pick. You can choose from any of the following categories. They are Says Who, Geography, Potluck, Science, Literature, and History. Which of those categories would you like?
History.
Okay, history it is. Now designated this country's first undersea national historic landmark is what Civil War ironclad which, in 1862, met the Merrimack? Pass or play?
Pass.
That was the Monitor. Although his grandfather, Louis XIV, had said, "I am the state," Louis XVI was guillotined for what crime against the state, the same charge of which Aaron Burr was acquitted?
Treason.
Treason is correct. The area of the United States and its territories first exceeded 3 million square miles in 1854 with the completion of what purchase of land from Mexico?
Texas.
That was the Gadsden Purchase, the Gadsden Purchase. People whose initials spell words are supposed to be lucky, but seeming to prove otherwise were the S.A.D. initials of what Democrat defeated in 1860 by Abraham Lincoln?
Douglas.
Yes, Stephen A. Douglas. St. Valentine's Day is associated with love, but poor St. Bartholomew is best remembered because on his day, what French Protestant group was massacred in 1572?
Huguenots.
Right. The slave trade was ended in the District of Columbia as part of what famous compromise that was the last major congressional triumph of Henry Clay. It has a date in its name? Pass or play?
Pass.
That was the Compromise of 1850. Clovis vowed to accept Christianity if he were successful in battle. He followed the example of what Roman emperor who is said to have seen a cross in the sky as a sign by which he would conquer?
Caesar.
No, Constantine. And finally, from the pulpit of the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church, Martin Luther King Jr. fought the segregated bus system of what Alabama capital?
Montgomery.
Montgomery is correct. John Marshall, you have 180 points. And we shall return with a time capsule round right after this message, so please stay with us.
Assembly lines, production lines, lines that mean jobs for Northeast Ohioans. For years, the Illuminating Company has helped bring new businesses here with thousands of new jobs and paychecks. And CEI people are still fighting for more. So when you think about it, our power lines deliver a lot more than electricity.
We're working to keep you working.
It's in great condition, but you just don't need it anymore. Give it to Goodwill. Goodwill will sell it to someone who will make great use of it, and the money it brings will help pay for Goodwill's vocational programs for people with disabilities and other special needs, training to help them qualify for work, and placement services to help them find jobs. The quality items you donate mean quality training for the people Goodwill helps. So give to Goodwill Industries. See what a little Goodwill can do for your community.
Students appearing on tonight's show will receive a photograph of their team as they appear on the show and an Academic Challenge t-shirt. In addition, the winners of tonight's show will receive a special plaque commemorating their victory.
Welcome back to Academic Challenge. Now we have a round of three-part video questions. The questions are keyed to a clip from an historic newsreel. The teams will be in direct competition. Each part of the three-part question is worth 10 points. There's a 10-point penalty for wrong answers. All right, let's roll the evening's first video clip. 1990 was the 60th anniversary of the unexplained disappearance of Judge Joseph Crater, who had been a jurist in what state whose current governor is Mario Cuomo? Mineral Ridge.
New York.
Yes, long before there were Elvis sightings, Judge Crater was supposedly seen in California, in Oregon, and even in what territory that later became the 50th U.S. state? Mineral Ridge.
Alaska.
We're looking for Hawaii. Hawaii on that one. At the time of Judge Crater's disappearance, what man later to be president was governor of New York? Any attempts here? Mineral Ridge.
Cleveland.
No, Franklin D. Roosevelt. Now we'll roll the evening's second video clip. Ever since work on Mount Rushmore began in 1927, this monument has drawn crowds of tourists to what state? John Marshall.
South Dakota.
South Dakota is right. It seems fitting that when Mount Rushmore carving began, the incumbent U.S. president was himself a kind of John Marshall.
Roosevelt.
No, Coolidge. On Mount Rushmore, the head of George Washington is approximately how many feet in height? A figure equaling 20 yards. Harvey.
60 feet.
60 feet is correct. Now take a look at the third video clip. In 1935, this young pilot was decorated and embraced by his father, Benito Mussolini, a dictator who is leader of the fascist party Mineral Ridge.
Italy.
Italy is correct. In the following year, two of Mussolini's sons participated in Italy's invasion and conquest of what African country? Mineral Ridge. Ethiopia is correct. Although he originally took the post of Prime Minister of Italy, Mussolini's followers hailed him with what special title? Mineral Ridge.
Il Duce.
Il Duce is correct, and that'll do it for the time capsule round. We'll be back for a final grab bag round after this from the Illuminating Company.
We take anywhere from 3,000 to 4,500 calls in our office. It's hectic, it's challenging, it's fun.
The pace may be grueling to someone else, but we kind of enjoy it.
I am the link between the customer and the answer to their problem.
We're able to deal with the customers on a more personal basis because we're customers too.
As the customer told me yesterday, I know you get things done.
We're working to keep you working.
A little goodwill can work wonders. When you support Goodwill Industries, you help provide work training and job placement services to people right here in your own community.
You can contribute your time.
You can donate clothing and household items.
You can give financial support.
When you give, it benefits people with disabilities and other special needs who rely on Goodwill programs. See what a little goodwill can do for your community. Support Goodwill Industries.
Now teams face their final competition, the grab bag. Before we get going, I'll recap the scores for you. In third place with 180 points, John Marshall. We have a tie with 280 points, both Mineral Ridge and Thomas W. Harvey. Now, when the grab bag teams gain 20 points for each correct answer, miss or fail to answer, and 20 points are deducted. All righty, here we go with the grab bag. Heretic in the Kremlin is the subtitle of correspondent Dusko Doder's recent book about what president of the Soviet Union, Mineral Ridge.
Gorbachev.
Yes, it is estimated that women provide more than 85% of the workers for what Asian textile industry that involves unraveling cocoons spun by worms, Mineral Ridge.
Silk.
Yes. After she died in childbirth, bearing her 14th child, the Queen Consort Mumtaz was commemorated by what splendid white marble tomb built in Agra, Mineral Ridge. Taj Mahal is correct. Mary earns $7 an hour. How much will she earn if she works 20 hours? Thomas W. Harvey.
$140.
Yes. First baseball player in Major League history to hit at least 30 home runs in each of his first 4 seasons was what first baseman for the Oakland Athletics, Marshall.
McGuire.
Right. Some Greek letters look just like our English ones, but not what last letter of the Greek alphabet, Marshall.
Omega.
Yes. A star student would expect a good mark for correctly using what reference mark that resembles a small star? Harvey.
Was an asterisk.
Yes. Choice here, systolic and diastolic refer to hormones, blood cells, or blood pressure. Harvey.
Blood pressure.
Right. Dancer Rudolf Nureyev took on a role associated with Yul Brynner when he portrayed a Siamese monarch, Harvey.
King and I?
King and I is right. The so-called Golden Age of Athens coincided with the 30-year rule of what Greek statesman responsible for building the Parthenon, Mineral Ridge?
Pericles.
Pericles is it. Although the lost colony was off the coast of North Carolina, the first settler's child born there had a name, Mineral Ridge.
Virginia.
Virginia is correct. The initials of the author's Spoon River anthology spell out with 3-letter name for a rough bark tree that's susceptible to Dutch disease. Mineral Ridge.
Oak.
I heard oak first, and the correct answer is elm. Kipling wrote The Light That Failed, but Charles Gatti's recent book, The Block That Failed, concerns what disintegrating military pact between the Soviet Union, Mineral Ridge. Warsaw Pact is correct, and that concludes tonight's match. This really was a great match. Let's check the final standings. In third place with 220 points, John Marshall. Second place, 360 points, it is Harvey. Our champion tonight with 380 points, it is Mineral Ridge. Congratulations. Now let's take a look at our Super Bowl scoreboard and see if tonight's winner has a big enough score to win a place for itself on the ladder. With 380 points, you come up short, but a very, very competitive match tonight. Be sure to catch the action next week when teams from Boardman High School, Walsh Jesuit of Stowe, and Brooklyn High School will be facing off on Academic Challenge. I'm Lou Maglio. We thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next Saturday night. So long, everybody.
Academic Challenge has been brought to you by the Illuminating Company.